有請新世界發展有限公司策略規劃及社區參與高級經理 G for Good 首席營運總監薄善玉女士，有請。
Thank you, thank you. Hello everyone, thank you so much. I just literally landed from a 16-hour flight, so I'm a little sleepy, but I'll try my best to explain what we're doing. So yes, G for Good. So actually, given this occasion, I will share with you my secret identity that we don't normally share in other occasions of G for Good. So my real identity that I represent is newer development. So why newer development, why G for Good, and why am I here? So about a year ago, Adrian, our new leader for newer development, he approached a bunch of us and say he has a new idea that he wants to do about how to do good through our entire platform of resources. So in the old times, like all these big conglomerates, like it sounds weird coming from me, but all these big conglomerates, they're earning all the way, neglecting a lot of social needs and creating a lot of problems. Keep it here, don't share it outside, like, so yeah. But he's aware that there are a lot more that we could do on top of CSR. Why can't we just incorporate the do good element, leveraging our resources to do more good instead of just cut out a bit of money and do a little bit here and there that does not align with our business strategy. So he grabbed a bunch of us, like some of us been working in the business field for a very long time. Me, myself, I've always been working in the strategy of nonprofit and social enterprise and development. So I was in Africa running orphanage for a couple of years, and I come back, started my own charity foundation. I was with United Nations, and I was a bit of here and there. And then we have another colleague that's always been traveling around to open factories for companies. So all of us from very different sectors, we sit together talking to Adrian, like, so what are we going to do now? No idea. 1 year ago, we have no idea of how we can transform New World development, how we can best use our resources to do more good. So we started G for Good. Sorry, it happens again. Okay, so G for Good. We're like A for apple, B for boy. Doing good should be something very fundamental that even little kids know. It should be very fundamental of every business, every individual that we should always remember, coming out from a do-good perspective. And we're like, how can we do this? How can we leverage business resources? We have shopping malls, we have hotels, we have restaurants, we have hospitals, we have elderly home, we have schools. We're like, there's so much that we could do, but how? So we started looking into the whole idea of creating shared value that has actually been around for years. Yes, Adrian and our other co-founder, Garrick. So it's actually been around for years in the States, talking about how all these companies are doing it, like Citibank or JP Morgan or like Samsung, Walmart. They're all talking about this. But in Asia, why ain't everyone talking about it? Why are small businesses doing very much their best to do more good, while big conglomerates with all these resources, we ain't trying to think how we could do more? So that's why we founded G for Good, and we start to think about how we can invest in more social innovations. Because when we look in the States, when we look in the Silicon Valleys, or like people would have a food tech company like Beyond Meat, Be Impossible Foods, to talk about climate change and sustainability. And when we look into Hong Kong, we talk to a lot of teenagers. Actually, for our work, we've always been engaged with a lot of teenagers. They have a lot of dreams and ideas, but lack of resources. We're not only talking about funding resources, because actually, banks or government or even the Jockey Club gives out a lot of funding. But I think for a lot of this social innovation to really thrive is to have a platform to support their growth. So we're like, okay, we found G for Good. Awesome, thank you. Nope, the other one, back. Yes, so we founded G for Good, thinking about how we can empower more next generation to go do social innovation. We talked to a lot of very talented young people. Like a lot of them come from our previous companies to do internship. Very, very talented with big dreams and ideas. But after they graduate, they go to banking. they go to consulting. They go to all these high-paid roles, and they're like, why are you guys doing this? They're like, well, Hong Kong is stressful, yo. Like, I need to pay for my rent. Like, I have my family. My girlfriend wants, like, fancy presents, or, like, I need to go to fancy restaurants for birthdays. I can't do nonprofit. I can't do social innovation. Like, I can't survive. So we're like, no, people, there's a future in this, because when you look into all these companies, a lot of big companies outside of Hong Kong, they are doing this because they believe this is the future of business. The old school conglomerate way, it's not sustainable anymore. We are gradually being kicked out by the market if we keep doing it the traditional way. So we're like, no, kids, there is a future in here. And that's why we founded G for Good, hoping to empower more young people to go for this journey, to realize their dreams, and on top of providing funding, like funding is the easy part of things. It's more like how we can help them to level up their skills. When we talk about social innovation, or when we talk about creating shared value, still a lot of people think, so you're talking about CSR, right? So you're talking about writing a check, right? We're like, no, people, like it's in our core business. And we're like, no, what are you talking about? We don't get it. So we do a lot of workshops and trainings to help our younger generations to understand what is the potential in this whole creating shared value platform. And also, a lot of them, when they want to go for social innovation career, but they don't know how. If they want to go for business field, or if they want to go for banking or consultant or anything, like there's a lot of mentorship programs out there to help them path their career to where they want. But when we talk about social innovation, not everyone has contact to Francis Nye, right? Like, not everyone can go just chat, Francis, how should I like plan my career? So we're like, no, people, come to us. We'll tell you. We'll help you. If you don't know how it's done, come to internships. That's why the last summer, like my colleague right there, she'll be laughing real hard because when we first started, Gary was like, oh, we're going to take a lot of interns because we want to let kids to try what is social innovation. So we had a team when I first started. We have a team of 2. When he said a lot, I was like 10 maybe. But no, we ended up with 40 interns the past summer. That was hectic. But most amazing experience because you see how they actually change their perspective on how to do business. So we take a lot of interest to let them try what is social innovation. We help them to do a lot of exchange programs. We'll send them out for school, for trainings. We actually were working with Hope Prize. I don't know if you guys know the Nobel Prize for students. I also talk about social innovation. We'll send them over for competition just to see what's out there. So on the funding side of our things, so that's a nonprofit side that does a lot of education, advocacy. On the funding side, we provide funding. And also, when we invest into these companies, it's way beyond than just the money, the capital. They're talking about leveraging our resources. What do I mean by leveraging? So, okay, come on. Cool. So this is one of the examples on board. So the focus for G for Good is quite broad. Like, it's like, as long as I do good, we'll invest in you. If there's a business model, we'll invest in you. But we require at least 10% of financial return because we want to prove that this is a business, it's not a social innovation. There is a future, and we want to prove it to other companies to do more of this. So we require financial return. So we do athletes, we do women empowerment, we do every different kind of themes, and one of the examples is On Board. On Board is talking about athletes. So I don't know if you guys are familiar of the whole athlete scenes around the world. So, sorry, I need some water. So like in Hong Kong, a lot of athletes, they work really hard. They actually spend their entire youth. Can you go back to that scene for me? Thank you. So they spend their entire youth to train and really work very hard so they can represent Hong Kong. But then after they retired, some of them, yeah, super cool. They got like Olympic medals and they represent Hong Kong. They're the pride of Hong Kong. And when they retire, actually it's really hard for them to transition and get another job. Because when they train really hard, a lot of them actually don't train in Hong Kong. A lot of them are trained in China or other countries, spend a lot of time traveling. So they never had internships. Some of them even stop education just to be an athlete. So when they actually retired, like the good ones, if you get like Ao Hoi Sun, they would get a lot of like commercials and they get a lot of extra income. But for the second tier athletes, it's really hard for them to get another job. They're like, oh, I used to represent Hong Kong for all these competitions, and when I come back, I can't even find a job. So they actually feel very humiliated. They end up become a swimming coach, or they go into insurance. There's like, that's not the best use of their skills. So when we talk to them, some of them actually want to start a business. So for on board, one of our investments is called S2O for Good. So under our team, we have a shopping mall that we manage called Forest, Haipo Haigai Sneaker Street. It's a sports-themed shopping mall. And then we have our investment fund. So we invest into that athlete. So that athlete is called Aso. My jack leg's kicking in. What's his full name, Jenna? So Yijun, yes. So his name is So Yijun. He's a basketball player, super cool, very handsome. You can go on Instagram and look into it. Very good looking. But, so he's very talented. He's like, I want to start my business. I want to try sports marketing. So he has all these connections. He knows what the sports language is. He knows how sports people likes, how you can engage them. So our shopping mall, previously, when we do events, we hire external marketing teams. And then they don't really speak the language. So our shopping mall is very cool, very green. I don't know if you guys been there. Like, very edgy. And then our previous marketing team would actually put a Hello Kitty in front of our sports shopping mall. Imagine the people that comes to buy sneakers. Are they really into Hello Kitty? Not really. So like boys coming in like Hello Kitty, I don't even want to go in that shopping mall anymore. So like we actually for 1 quarter, we only have 4 events at a shopping mall. Imagine like Dim Gao So, right? So afterwards, when we took over the shopping mall, we replaced our marketing team majority with athletes. So on top of providing jobs to them, leveraging on their skill set, we also invest in one of the sports marketing company, and now this company hosts events for all of our shopping mall. So it's a win-win situation. Now, 1 quarter, we have 61 events at our shopping mall. Imagine the traffic that it's bringing to our shopping mall that transfer into sales. When we actually renew contract with our tenants, we have a way bigger bargaining power. It's like, look at this, look at the traffic, you know. So it's a double win situation. So, so for us, 1, we provide funding, and this company provides financial return for us. 2, for our shopping mall, we have more sales, we have more traffic, we have more engagement, more potentials. But for this company, a lot of startups, yes, you give them funding, but what they need is profile. What they need is resources. What they need is you help them to build their first phase so they can thrive afterwards. So we help this company to build his profile. Now, when you look at it from an athlete on the CV, no internship, no job experience, never won a golden medal, to now a CV, he has his own company, he's the CEO and co-founder, he got investment, and he looks over Sensai Guy, one of our shopping malls. So after a couple years, his profile is built, he can actually ditch us and go take other jobs outside and help other places. For example, why do we also very focus in athlete development? Because we see the potential here. In Hong Kong, sport is really thriving. You see Kaidat Sports Parks coming out in a few years. And we'll need a lot of talent to manage that place. And now is the time for us to grow these talents so we can actually perfectly fit into the picture. So for this company now is doing well, but another thing is for these athletes, never have job experience. They don't know how to do PowerPoints. They don't know how to do financial forecasts. They don't know how to write business strategies. So that's also where our nonprofit arm comes in, that we do a lot of matching for them to do the mentorship. We help them to learn how to build their business case. We'll help them to understand how business are operated. So after a couple years, not only the company's profile is built, but their skill set is also built and ready to go out. So this is what we're talking about, creating shared value. So on one side, we are actually earning more. But on the other side, I'm not just writing a check to help them. I'm not just writing a one-off check to these athletes. Oh, 俾10萬蚊你，俾20萬、30萬你，開個 company 唔理你啦，咁樣 No, but we use our resources, use our platform to help them to grow. So on board is one of the case study, but we're also duplicating in a lot of other companies. So this is one of the social media company. This is called Picoti. It's also about women empowerment that we also very much focus on because a lot of females, the founders actually used to be an athlete, water polo athlete, and then she was pregnant, and then she stopped working, and she's a freelance designer. And it's very hard for mummies to very much balance between work, earning money, and then also caring for the baby and all these. We understand in Hong Kong, females has a lot of glass ceilings. And there's a lot of help that we could do in this field. So we're also very much focused on that. So this company focused on using eco-friendly materials to make T-shirts. You know, like when we go out for, I'm sure a lot of you guys, you all have team T-shirts like us, right? And then, but it's very unsustainable. Like, every time you change themes, you change colors, you change logo, or if you just go for volunteering trips or field trips, you make a new T-shirt, and it's not sustainable. So now she's making a new material that actually is decomposable. It's made by bamboo. It's all natural. And then how Newark can support her? We have harbor race. We have a lot of events. We have a lot of volunteer, like her bang. So like we have a lot of these T-shirts that we use. Like we still do the traditional nonprofit thing because there is a need in that, but at the same time we think we could do more. So that's how we support her to do a lot of her development as well. So and then also we have Run for Good, Media for Good is a media company. Run for Good is about hosting running events, and then also Jump Rope for Good is about road skipping, jumping roads, because there's actually a big market but very neglected. So this is one platform that we do, but we're launching other platforms called She Ventures that focus on female empowerment. We also launching one platform called Strength. Strength is, why we call Strength is because a lot of special needs or handicaps or disabled people in Hong Kong, when you go into interviews, people would look like, oh, you're sitting on a wheelchair? Oh, that's hard. Is my office big enough? Oh, is my colleagues gonna be okay? Are you gonna have emotional issues? How are you gonna like get into our whole workplace? A lot of questions, and in the end, they might not be hired. But actually, basically living on a wheelchair requires a lot of design thinking. Like me, myself, I lived on a wheelchair for 6 years. I was half paralyzed when I was younger. But I understand being on a wheelchair, simply going to 7-Eleven, it's a pain because they always have a step. So you always need to come up with a lot of very creative ideas to live your day. So actually, design thinking is one of the core skills that a lot of big companies are looking for right now. So we think there's a huge potential, and we should focus on people's strengths more than weakness. So that's why we launched this platform called Strength. So all these platforms, on top of funding, on top of using our resources to help them, we do a lot of job matching, mentoring, just anything we could do, we'll do it because we want to empower more next generation and more companies to do this. So how? We do individual and corporate level. So there's actually a third hidden arm in G for Good. On top of the nonprofit advocacy, on top of investment, we do have a CSV consultant department. So what we do is, based on our learning experience as a big company, how we can share our experience with other people. Because our belief is, or Adrian actually believes, that this is not just about new work development. We are just being the first person to try, to fail, to learn, and share our experience with other companies. If one day, Kivit in here, if Sun Hongke comes and asks us, like, oh, can we do CSV, can you share? Yes, we'll share. Can we collaborate? Yes, we'll collaborate. Why? Because we think this is the future of business and more companies should do this. So this is going way beyond just new work development that we're doing, and we are very open to share our experience with other companies. So that's why there's a consultant arm. And where there are individual coming in, it's like, dude, I'm not ready to quit my job and start a social innovation. Like, my girlfriend or my boyfriend is very needy, like all these expensive stuff. No, like I gotta quit my job. Like, cool, be an internal agent. Like when you are in that company, how with your own resources, how can you push the agenda further? How can you do more even at the current role? For example, I used to work at Green Monday. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with Green Monday that talks about plant-based diet to tackle climate change. So I used to head international development there, and we always talk about how individuals can make a big step, or through a baby step, we can make big changes. So, for example, any one of you, when you host your next client dinner or client meeting, can you actually go to a social enterprise? Like there's like a lot of places that has a very do-good, like Cafe 8 in Central. There's a lot of companies that with a do-good element. Can we actually put an additional 15, 30 minutes just to find if there's another good cause that you can support? For example, when we order pizza, that's the one example that we talk at Green Monday. It's like when we order pizza for our lunch meeting or for our parties, instead of 10 meat pizza, can we order 4 meat? And 6 vegetarian or 6 meat, 4 vegetarian. With that, like you're not pissing off the meat eaters, but at the same time you provide an option to people to take a little step further and immediately already cut 4 pieces of meat consumption. So just through all these little decision making as an individual, we could do more. And one of the things that we partner very much, one of the company we partner a lot is called Zuma. At 精神书院, I don't know if you guys heard of it. So, a lot of people, a lot of young kids that actually they've done, they were in jail, like kapto, or they went like stealing, and when they come out, they would live there. So just to get reborn. So they do have a video and photographer company called Zuma, Zooma. So they're very, very professional. They actually partner with Sony. So for our events, we only hire them. That's it. Because we feel like we need to, through every daily decision, even the vendor that you're working with, you're already making change. So for G for Good, and as an individual level, we are providing a vendor list that people can actually look into. It's like when they come to me like, I want to do something, I don't know how, like I don't know how to use Google, I don't know how to search for these companies, you tell me. So we provide a very convenient step for you. This is the list. Go dig in. So that's an easy step. So as an individual, from mentoring to training to workshop to further education to providing vendor lists, or for companies collaborating, co-investing, sharings, or do talks, or even let their staff to come in to do internship, we're very open. So we believe this field, we need to collaborate more instead of just individually doing individual stuff. So we're very open. So if any one of you wanna share more or want to collaborate anything, just find the pink t-shirt ladies in the room, then we're more than happy to chat further. So yes, to learn more about us, you can go online, gforgood.today, take action today, and yes. So here are our social media, my gongo, okay? Please follow our social media platforms. We have a lot of events. And this is my contact, WhatsApp, email. Feel free to WhatsApp us or contact us to explore further. Thank you.
我估大家聽咗咁耐，應該都有好多問題想問 Alyssa 㗎啦。大家可以把握問答環節嘅機會，踴躍發問。If you have any questions or anything to share, please seize the valuable chance to talk to our guests by raising your hand.
In your point of view, from your point of view, what do you think about the social enterprise development in Hong Kong, and how would like corporations like you and other large corporations can do more with social enterprises in Hong Kong?
Yes, I think social enterprise development in Hong Kong is definitely thriving. But personally, I think one of the hiccups or the bottleneck is how to reach the mass public. How are we connecting them with the mass public? Because there's so many really cool social enterprise out there, but you really need to spend a lot of effort to dig in, or oftentimes they don't know how to market themselves. So my guango. So we have like a Media for Good company earlier that I mentioned is focusing on media. What we do is specifically help social enterprise as well, to help them market, to help them rebrand themselves, to help their social media platform, their website, so it's more appealing to people. And for us, how we can leverage our resources to help them, like I mentioned earlier, when we do lunch meeting or when we host events, we always try to find social enterprise to partner, like let alone restaurants or vendors or anything. Well, that's our first priority. So I think building that vendor list is very important. If you guys know any really good social enterprise that you want to help them to market to more people, send them to us. We'll add to the list so more people know about them. So yeah.
You have Andy's team. You're doing the New World University,
Oh yes.
and also G for Good.
Yes.
And do you guys see yourself as a competitor or like collaborator?
I think it's more about how we could collaborate, because it would be very silly if we reinvent the wheel doing the same thing. We're in the same company, or even if we're not in the same company, why someone else doing and we're doing again? So Eureka Nova does a lot of accelerator. So that's one of the reasons we're like, instead of doing our own accelerator, can we collaborate? Because every platform has their own value and uniqueness that we can actually support each other to grow. So I think it's finding that love that way and how we can empower each other is very important. So I don't think it's a competitor. I think it's very much about finding that sweet spot, that creating shared value, how to help each other. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have been showing a few like sportsmen on the video, and yeah, I would suggest you to take a look at it on Facebook. It's very interesting.
They actually at the forest right now, when you go there on the ground floor level, we're doing an exhibition to share more about the athlete story and how they actually overcome a lot of the hardship to be who they are today. So I think there's a lot of things very inspiring that worth looking. So allow me to share a little bit more. Like at the shopping mall, some of the events, instead of having Hello Kitties now, we do a lot of live broadcasts. 因為學界比賽, school competition is actually very exciting, and there's huge potential, and there are not a lot of people are paying attention on that. So we do a lot of live broadcasts, also help raise awareness on local athlete scene to tell people that actually we've got a lot of talents here that we could focus more. Thank you. Yes.
I have a question about the CSV ventures. So you have listed 3 of the aspects that you are interested, but will there be any more about like in medical terms?
So I would say because for us, we also want to have a better strategy on where to focus our resources. So athlete, women empowerment, and special needs like D&I would be our key focus. But we also look into sustainability. We also look into other things, you name it. Like some of the companies that we're looking into is about replaceable straws or like edible. 我講咗你就知啦，過期食品 investments.
I know which
one. Yeah, and yeah, so we do like very broad. So if you have any ideas, actually feel free to share.
Sure, I have a lot of ideas. Thank you.
Yeah. And the beauty is, like, for New World, it's so broad, right? Whatever business that you're working on, there is definitely some way that we can fit into our existing business. So, yes, definitely speak more.
So actually, this is a platform to bring social innovators together. So what you're doing is truly admirable, and you are making use of the corporate resources to help build up the ecosystem. So it's very impressive, but I'm just thinking a bit further ahead. How could different kinds of ecosystem work together? For example, the government has been building up the ecosystem in Hong Kong for social innovation and social entrepreneurs over the last 10 years or so. And also there are different platforms in Hong Kong and in other countries. So as a corporate, what would you suggest? How could these different platforms work together so we could build a bigger macro ecosystem together?
Okay. I think to answer your question, government, I work in nonprofit for a very long time. So we always try to get a lot of funding from government, but we always failed. Maybe our proposal's not appealing enough, but it would take a longer time, I would say. And I think it would take a lot more result before we can take that step. Because we're still a baby. Like we have this idea end of last year, December, and we've been around for less than a year. I think to prove a case study, like right now it all sounds beautiful, but I think it needs a lot of actual numbers, actual case studies for us to actually put on the table, look at this, instead of trying to spend a lot of time to convince people to join the journey. So I guess like once we have more results, then we can take a step further and try to not convince, but to show through facts that it's better for them to join the journey. If not, they're going to miss out the future.
And I, in fact, have two questions. The first one is about the G for Good. You engage athletes to start their own startup. That's really great. And you shared with us two examples, the Soijan and the bamboo, the water polo athletes. So what's your target or next step? And also how you engage more athletes to start their own startups. And the second question is about CSV. So large-scale companies like Sensaigai and also Sengge, I think they will have insights to do such a new concept CSV. So is there any plan or insights that you want to engage SME or how to help the SME to have this kind of concept?
Okay, so for the first question, what are the next steps or how we engage more athletes? Because actually our team, I would say like 40–50% are all athletes. Or even 60, I think. So they do have a very strong network that they know other athletes. So through their own experience, or even our interns, we have a lot of athlete interns. So through them, word of mouth, we get a lot of inquiries as well. But at the same time, we do a lot of support. So one of the things under our arm on top of Shopping Mall and G for Good, we actually have a platform called Springboard Foundation that's completely nonprofit that helps underprivileged kids to do sports training. So through that platform, we also collaborate with all like Lam Zhong, Juk Zhong, a different kind of these sports association. So through them, we also actually reach out to a lot more other athletes, and also through social media and a lot of sharings and events. So that's how we reach out. And for targets, I think for particularly on board, we'll hope to have at least 10 projects this year. And for the whole G for Good, we're targeting 5 years, 100 CSV projects. So for the second question, how we can empower more business to do this. So there's a platform called Shared Value Project as a global network, and they have a branch in Hong Kong. And we just joined them as one of the founding members. So the reason of doing that is because we want to share. They have a lot of regular meetings, monthly meetings, and they have a strong network of catch-up, gatherings, sharings, and like workshops. So we're hoping like through that platform we can share our experience with more people and see how we can actually even collaborate with smaller business to do more together. So that's our plan, and that's what we're doing now.
Well, basically, I'm also one of the real entrepreneurs in Hong Kong and adopting CSV in my company. I would like to just want to clarify the concept of the CSV. Is it really that G for Good really adopt the concept from the Michael Porter about the GSV, or you have a new model of the CSV? Because when I find that you are creating a platform GSV and then create a lot of the new enterprises, maybe too good to do good and do well in the society. So what's the difference between that? Maybe I can say that New World, forming a new company, invest some kind of new social enterprises, but with the help from the New World. So do you, what I mean? Basically, it's a social enterprise is with a do good and do well. So what's the difference between your incubated company and with the CSV concept?
Actually, there's no, like, exactly Michael Porter, yeah. So he used this new fancy term. Like these terms always change, like purpose instead of CSV.
So, but in executing the concept is not fancy terms. You need to. I think we need to leverage the miracle of the CSV concept, because this is a very powerful tools to make change, especially to the mainstream business.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me share a little bit more. So for creating shared value, like I mentioned earlier, how we're not just investing in them, but they're also helping our business, like the shopping mall case study. And to take a step further, to actually really going CSV all the way, is our core business, real estate. So I can't share too much, but our core business is land development and also retail. So we are actually launching a project next year that's leveraging on actually our core business to do CSV projects, to empower more social innovations. And all these social innovations, like, we use the CSV model to empower them, but they also have their own CSV elements, because not just helping that athletes or that particularly person, they are also required to empower other people. For example, like interns or their hiring also needs to be from the same target group to help that impact to multiply it and share more. Because our G for Good, our platform, is actually founded directly in the CEO office of New Work Development. So it's Adrian and then our team. So it's Adrian, Garrick, and then me. So we're extremely close to that decision maker. And I think for the smart thing that Adrian did, he not just gave us a bunch of funding and do our own stuff, but he actually gave us different retail space for us to showcase how this is actually a business, creating shared value as a business. So for us to push even further internally, it's very much about, like I mentioned earlier, having the results. So once we do our impact measurements, once we have a collective amount of experience, then we can go to other departments, help them through our experience. And also for the consultant, I forgot to mention earlier, it's not just external, even internal. Because now other shopping mall business unit heads will come to us. 喂，做得好掂喎，點做㗎？咩 creating shared value? So they will actually proactively come to us to ask us how we can implement creating shared value into their BU, so their BU can be more do good at the same time and do more and earn more. So like a triple win. So definitely going viral in New Work Development. And I think very much as all the business people, they're all looking to numbers and look into facts. So just a beautiful storytelling is not convincing. So it will need experience and results, a collective amount of data that we can go and convince them. I think that's very much about through our daily interaction with these people. Because, for example, even simply, they said agreement with our JVs, when we talk to legal team, they've been working in New Work Development for 20 years, 30 years. Their mindset is very set. When we talk to them, actually, the first agreement took us 6 months to draft because 上市公司唔係咁做嘢㗎，生意唔係咁做㗎，乜嘢 do good 唔係咁㗎，會蝕錢㗎。So we keep on getting pushback from a lot of internal staff. We don't mind sharing openly. It's a struggle. So but through our daily decision making, our interaction, our whole persistence, resilience. To keep pushing, keep explaining, 唔好怕醜，係咁講，唔係啊，蝕錢唔使擔心，唔會蝕錢㗎。So I think it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but it's doable.